And welcome back. This is our fourth episode, I believe. That I'm recording them in order. I'm gonna put them out in order. I believe this is our fourth episode of Lost Boys presents Deep Cuts, the show where we take you deeper into the minds of our artists, and I get to sit with them one on one and get a little more personal and a little deeper into topics. Today I have Miss Robin with us.
Hola.
And everybody knows Miss Robin. She's a poet, a rapper, a singer, a certified Reiki healer. She is also practices in holistic medicines. She also coordinates live events through her production company, Synergistic Approach Production. And her Reiki studio is Reiki Soul Studio, and you can follow her on Facebook at Robin Bowser. So how you doing today?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm all right. It's a good morning. I got to be to work in like 3 hours, and this is a good way to start the day.
Good way to start the day. Absolutely. Getting off on the for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you for coming on. I know that like things have been hectic, and
They have been trying to, be a business owner and work for yourself and still, live life and make money and things are, coming in.
It seems like lately. I muted myself. Sorry. It seems like lately a lot of people have just been like so overworked and just have so much on their plate. I mean, I was texting you earlier as I was running out the door to go do something else with my grandfather, and he was like, "Man, you got a lot of I think I forget what he said, pans on the stove or it was some expression like that." But he's like, "Yeah, you got a lot going on, man." Like and I mean, I'm an assistant manager at my store, and then I have my family, and then I have the show, and I'm trying to do so many new things with the show, like recording deep cuts and stuff like that. And it's just like it gets to be a lot. Sometimes it's like it feels like the perfect stars have to align for everything to happen the way it should.
But that's how it is, though. You know what I mean? For you to be on that path and to be doing that, you have to be aligning your own. The stars have to align. You're the star. If you think about it.
Yeah. Last week we lost all of our artists except one. It was just me and Caleb for an hour and a half. Me and him just talked.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, one artist, he didn't cancel, but we actually pre-recorded something else that I'll be releasing at some point soon. And then one artist, her dog ran off. She had to go find it. Yeah, it was just like a whole mess of things. It was a whole mess of things.
Life happens.
And it feels like it's been that way for a lot of people lately.
And just talking
For sure.
off camera, it was just, we're all trying to do so many things. And the world's so crazy right now. And nobody knows what's going on. So it's, to have any kind of sanity is rare.
Yeah.
So, like, nobody think you're alone out there. We're all kind of going batshit crazy at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the show's all about. Is kind of like it's the Lost Boys, the place to come be kind of like lost together. Like everybody, I feel like everybody's a little lost right now, and I like to have a place where we can all just like be lost together. You know, it's like Neverland.
It's the adventure, though. Like we got to keep our minds focused on that. It's the adventure that we're supposed to be on, and we're supposed to be having fun, and we're supposed to be living a passionate life, authentically. And yourself in the mirror in the morning, and am I living authentically? Am I really happy every day? And make changes to do that. Like it has to happen. And it's harder or easier said than done, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you wake
Can
up,
I just say, wherever you are right now, I love it.
Oh, this is my house. Can I flip it around?
Yeah. I'm just seeing like you're just walking around in nature, and you just look like you have like so much awesome like
behind me. Ooh, where am I? It's my yard.
Wow.
It's actually my mom's house. It's not mine. We had
That's really nice, and this
Just
looks like a lot of places to go, like, stomping through the forest and exploring.
yeah, it's cool. It's definitely, I don't know, small townville,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
yeah.
We got lots of trees. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's pretty much all New Hampshire is. It's just trees and less taxes.
Right, exactly. Exactly. No,
Yeah,
growing
yeah.
up
I
out
mean,
here was, I was able to connect with myself and my environment easier. I was actually in New York like a couple weeks ago, and the thought that some of those people never leave that city
mm,
and see like mountain ranges and a lot of people who don't, and it was just like heartbreaking for me. Like I want to bring the trees to them.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
off
I
topic.
had I had a friend. Well, he wasn't really my friend. He was just kind of someone I was in a group home with.
Yeah.
And at one of the lower security places that I was in, you can earn home visits and go visit home for like if your parents can arrange it and your probation officer can arrange it and everything falls in line, you can go home for like 24 hours and then come back, which is it's nice, but it's also kind of like a kick in the teeth.
Right.
Um, but it's like but so they'll arrange transports and all the kids will be transported together. And man, some of these kids from Manchester, I mean, and Manchester's one of the smallest cities, ever. And some of these kids, even from Manchester, are like, oh my God, these trees. There's so many trees. I didn't know you live in the woods, Dylan. And I was like, I mean, kinda, yeah. I have a mountain in my backyard. Like it's a lot of the if I I went and I'm out in my backyard right now. It's I think we have 3 acres, something like that. Three and a half acres. So it's not bad. It's not bad. Some of it is woods and most of it's backyard. So it's pretty nice. I just yeah, nature is always something that like settles my mind. And I don't think that I think I was saying this on another episode or something. I don't think we were meant to be kept like Chicago and New York and all those big cities. I don't think we were supposed to be like that. I don't think we were supposed to be pent up and all packed together like that.
Not at all. Everybody needs their own space, and everybody knows that just by living with their spouse or their parents or whatever. Your own space is definitely a necessity. We weren't even supposed to be living in square houses, to be honest. Everything should have been rounded because energy flows, and whenever you hit a corner, it stops, which that's not good. That's where you get blockage
Yeah.
and stagnant energy. So that's why
Oh,
teepees, why yurts are around, and like all the old school, dwellings.
I was actually like recently like got kind of went down the rabbit hole of like I was researching like feng shui art and like how arranging a room in a certain way or with a certain number of chairs or a certain number of this or whatever, like 13 is a very powerful number. I was learning, and just like a lot of there are literally people who make a whole living off of like rearranging a room to create better energy,
Yeah, and it
and
actually,
it's called feng shui, and it was just like so like mind blowing. I was like, "Whoa, what? That's so crazy!"
yeah, it's like
Like,
of being able to create your energy to flow according to your actual frequency, pretty
yeah,
much.
I mean, but I get it though, because like even just wearing a different piece of clothing, or getting a haircut or something like that, like it changes your energy, it
Right.
changes your whole aura.
Rearranging a room, you know what I mean? Like you said, even if you don't do it, like paying attention to feng shui or what the laws that are, you you just clean your room and get it organized, and you're like, your whole weight's off your shoulders. So
Yeah,
that little bit of a difference in energy shift, for sure.
oh, absolutely. I've always thought that like a clean space is the key to a clean mind. And a lot of people who watch this are going to laugh their ass off when they hear me say that, because I am not like the cleanest person ever. And I have been known to have some very trashed rooms. but it
Oh,
doesn't mean that I don't believe in the concept. I'm not very good at following through with it sometimes, but I believe in the concept.
easier said than done. I say I'm sanitary. I am not clean. Like my house is sanitary, but I have clutter. But clutter on the other hand drives me absolutely insane. So I'm always stressed out because I have clutter. So it's a bit,
Right.
it really is. But
Well, my mom used to say my house isn't dirty; it's just lived in.
just lived it.
It's
So
yeah, we
the week old milk carton is sitting on the counter that hasn't been thrown away by the 7 people who live here. It's just,
yeah, that's
you know, it's life.
it
It's
is. It is, man. I know how it is, especially with I literally live in a house with 7 people, if
okay.
not more. I didn't even know my 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, think about 7. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
My backstory: I had 6 kids in my household, plus their 4 like best friends were there. Well, 5 best friends were there all the time because they lived a street
Yeah.
over, and I was the cool house to hang out with or in. So it was cool. I loved it. I wouldn't have changed it for the world, but it does. Sorry about the trucks.
No, you're good. You're good.
There's a strip mine like right up the hill, so it's my life. At night, it sounds like there's monsters coming through the woods, like just crunching. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I talking about?
Um, you were talking about your backstory and how you lived in a house with
Oh, that
6 kids.
definitely, makes
Although
life.
try to keep your finger off of your microphone. I don't know if that's the problem or what, but
Can you hear me now?
yeah, you're good.
Awesome. But yeah, their kids are dirty. They don't ever put anything away. So
Yeah.
I decided to clean. Decided to clean. It was not. It was not happening. But
I I know how to clean, but I don't like cleaning at all. So if you see me cleaning, like that there's a problem. It's bad. Like when there are so many dinosaur toys on the floor that I cannot move, there is an issue. These dinosaurs are either getting put in the bucket or in the trash because if one more of them goes into my foot, I might die. Like I tripped over a dinosaur like I don't know the other day, and I was just thinking, oh, you know what? Like I was just thinking, I did this to myself because I bought a lot of them.
but
I bought a lot. I bought a lot of them, so it's like, oh, is this really his fault or is this my
my
fault for
fault.
letting him have spiky toys?
Self sabotage is what I call it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mine was Legos. I hate Legos. I can't stand. My kids can't have Legos or putty. After a week,
Mm.
putty was the worst thing ever because it got stuck everywhere. Or slime. Nope.
Oh my god. There's slime stuck to that ceiling right there, actually.
See, like I said, everybody's life is the same.
That one's from my little sister. That one's from my little sister about like 6 years ago, and there's
Still
still
there.
slime stuck up there.
Yep. Just like
She
that
used
cup.
yeah, she used to make it herself and just like yeah.
The worst was my niece. She was like a always like concoctions. She had to like mix things together. She was obsessed with it, and so I'd walk around finding like little cups of just the randomness, like liquids and sparkles and glitter, and like what are these? They were everywhere. It was crazy. Anyway,
Yeah. Um, so when I first hit you up, because you were one of the first people that I hit up to come on and do like a deep cuts episode and talk about some stuff. One of the things you mentioned wanting to talk about, and let me pull it up here so that I don't misquote you. Here. Um, you were thinking. Okay, I'm sorry. This is bad radio. Uh,
it's okay.
you were essentially saying that you wanted to talk about energy and how it basically affects our everyday life. Okay, the anatomy of our energy system and how it directly affects our quality of life. Following your passion, this world is the nuttiest. We are surrounded by how to cope with what we said above. So yeah. And I think we touched on that a little bit already is like how, there's certain things you can do to change your energy. but I think, I guess my question for you is like, in your life, what is the biggest, when you're feeling like your energy is chaotic and exploding, what is the biggest thing that you do to ground yourself and use your energy system to your advantage rather than it taking advantage of you?
Breath work.
Breath work, really? And like you do like deep meditation or just
So there's different, techniques that you can use. I've always just kind of done my own thing. I've always been someone who is like, when I get upset, I'm like I have to do that deep breath to like calm myself down. If I don't do that, it's not happening. So that kind of like was always like what set me into it. And then I read a book. It was called medical meditation, I believe is what it's called. I'll have to put it in a link somewhere, but it changed my life. This book was amazing, but it taught me how like everything is in sync, everything is synergy. So, from meditation to deep breath work to massage to, psychedelic, ceremonies, stuff like that, it's all connected in the same way. And like being able to, I don't know, switch modalities, I guess, because I'm never sticking to one. But the breath work is most definitely my go-to. If you don't see me,
so
I look like I'm hype. Watch out. I'm just ready to go then.
yeah, yeah. I so something. Yeah, that's definitely. I do that too. I think, as silly as it sounds, the counting to 10 is like really big for me. That's something I learned when I was very young, and it's very it's I because I have ADHD. I am very impulsive,
Right.
especially when I get angry.
Oh yeah. A lot
So
of type, huh?
taking taking that pause is absolutely essential for me, because if I don't take a pause, I am liable to do something I will vastly regret in the future.
Right.
And you know what I mean?
It's
Um,
respond versus react. You know,
yeah,
give yourself that 10 seconds to walk away and just think about it. Your perspective might change. That initial heat, let that go away and then think about it. And then you should respond, and it does, because that gets you, and especially with your spouse, I'm sure, that I know my experience is that initial hurt somewhere in your body that they just kind of tickled. You know what I mean? Like you're upset about something from something past life, from your childhood, whatever, and they just triggered it. you know
right,
that initial response, it's not even you. It's almost like it's a parasite, or it's a another frequency, another version of you, that hurt child or that hurt, is coming out in you. You're channeling.
right,
It's crazy because I'm
right.
actually doing an amazing channeling workshop right now, because I've been definitely getting a lot more in tune. I don't know if it's with these solar flares, with these, solar eclipse coming up, which is going to be huge, by the way, and we definitely need to talk about that. Um, and like the whole energy around that. But shit, see, that threw me off. That's how infatuated. That's my rabbit hole lately. Is this the solar?
God, I almost sent you this verse I was working on last night, or did I? Maybe I did. I
You did.
can't remember what I remember. I did. I did. Oh my god. Yeah. And it was. There were these things. It was bouncing around in my head. There were just all these like big things happening. Like that. They like they're just like, I mean, like giant murder hornets. Like they straight up admitted that they have alien spacecrafts. Like
There's
fire.
it's so
Half of Hawaii and California and Canada are all on fire. Like just all these big things, and I think they're all connected.
it
I
is.
think they're all connected.
I mean, this is obviously my understanding, and if you don't agree with me, I still love you. You know what I mean? But the world is. I mean, it's we're seeing that at the end of days intro. You know what I mean? What's
Yeah, I was, and I think I can't remember what part of what I was working on that I sent you, but I think one of the lines that I was working on in there was it was talking about the end of days, and it's just like it is really scary. Like there is like it's shit that you would see on a movie, dude. Like like 2012, that movie where we all thought we were gonna die in 2012, and I mean, I was ready for it. I was full on
I was
prepared.
1999. I was 18 in 1999. So we were like everybody's Y2K in it. So I've been through a couple of them now.
Yeah, the Y2K. Okay, yeah, there. But it's like, I mean, I feel like they really, and I'm not the only person who has this opinion. I've heard a lot of people say this, including one of my favorite podcasters ever, whether you like him or not. I think Joe Rogan is a brilliant man, and he makes a lot of good points, and he really thinks that the end is like upon, like he's had conversation many, he has like 5 podcasts with Elon Musk,
Yeah.
who is like the future of pretty much everything and tapped into what's going on.
Yeah.
And if Elon Musk thinks that we're this close to getting cyborg chips implanted in our brains and colonizing Mars, the end is coming, man. Like, Elon Musk is saying the end is coming. Like, shit's about to go south.
Yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
feel like they're doing all this to hide that
Young
from us, and
dogs.
they know.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, I mean, if you look at all of the different things that have been said, like the Euphrates River drying up, that's happening. In the Bible, it quotes Israel going to war again. You know what I mean? With that springs in the solar eclipse as well, because I think, and I might be, you know, misquoting this a little bit, but not off by much. It's like there's been 3 times that this kind of solar eclipse has occurred within the time frame of another one, and it was when Jesus Christ was resurrected, whenever Moses got the tablets, or no, maybe it was the flood. I think it was the flood, and now. So those are big
Yeah,
things.
and the fire, I believe it was the fire in Maui, what is the biggest in over 100 years.
Right,
I,
and that's
I'm,
my understanding is that it was completely man-made. It was us, our government, or the elite getting property. They were murdering people for property.
I mean, and
Am I allowed to say?
and they didn't. Yeah, well, the payout that these people got for compensation of their lives and their livelihood set a one time, and I have said this so many times, I sound like a broken record. A one time payment of $700. What the fuck?
Right, right, right. I mean, they just watched their entire community. Actually wrote something about this, and I would love to read it. I don't know if I can. Can I get to my stuff
Yeah,
on? Funny, you
if
just
not,
so, and also you got to think that Hawaii, they just took them out. They took them out at the knees, and what a drop in frequency in the whole earth felt that day. You know what I mean? Just because of that.
yeah. I mean, I was, and I hate to keep like quoting other podcasts, but I just listened to a lot of them to kind of just like get myself in the same mindset. And I was listening to one with The Rock, and who is from Maui, and he was saying that like when you fly in, most of the time you feel that like aloha, happy spirit, and
Yeah.
now when you fly in to Hawaii, like it's just feels like doom and gloom.
Ohana, yeah, and there's no Ohana.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's what he said. It seems like the mana is drained. And yeah, that's exactly what he said. And it just feels like those people's whole spirit has been crushed and drained, and it's so sad, so sad.
It really is. I'm sorry. I'm kind of like staring off into nowhere. I'm looking for that. There it
No,
is.
you're good. No, you're good. I assumed you were looking for your piece.
All right. What if this happened to you? What if in the midst of chaos you ran to your hose to protect your home just to find that the water had been shut off? What if you tried to report the water issue and call for help and realized that your town's communications had been completely shut off? What if you then grabbed your family to run outside to get in your car and drive to safety to find that you're being forced to stay? All paths out of hell's path have been blocked. What if you stood in the ocean for hours, slowly suffocating, forced to watch your community being destroyed? What if you were walking past hundreds of charred vehicles in the midst of a street and a street with entire families from your neighborhood, your children's school, still inside, like they had no warning or ability to escape? What if you woke up today and your entire life, everything you've ever seen or known was gone? The families you grew up with in shock and turmoil. What if the pieces started fitting together and the lies of natural disaster that fled to the masses do not match what you witnessed firsthand in front of you? What if once the smoke clears, you see the truth of how this unfathomable tragedy came to be and the truth that leads you to the very people who have taken oaths to serve us and our land? There are no what ifs and there's no when. We can't let this slide. We need to come together and stand up for the people of Hawaii, for all of us. To all have been affected by the greed and the ignorance of our satanic leaders, we're sorry. We need to do better. You deserve better.
Wow.
It just,
Wow. Thank you.
it's like, that's like you get, that morning I was just thinking about, like, I could not imagine if I was sitting in on this and we had a whole row of cars and people were still sitting in them charred and you're walking by your neighbors. That's just sucks, man, that people would do that to people. And I can't
Yeah.
for the reckoning to happen so those little fuckers can burn. I know
Yeah. I mean,
the
and
truth.
whether here's the thing, whether it was a man-made fire, which is sick and
it,
sadistic,
it is still a
or whether you believe that it was natural, it is still a big example of the lack of fucking human empathy that is in the world today. I
absolutely.
mean, do we they're they're supposed to be our 50th state, but we don't treat them like
No,
our 50th state. We treat them like they're just off on this little, island. They, you know what I mean? They're not part of the landmass, so they, you know, matter less. And that shouldn't be like that. It's absolutely disgusting. And yeah, the way we've grown to treat each other, and I think it's because of the internet, and I think it's because of, you know, you can get on your phone, you can say whatever the fuck you want to whoever the fuck you want anytime. All right, I can hear you. I think we're back. I think we're
all
back.
right, cool,
Thank
awesome.
God.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's all right.
I still
Tech-
want to talk, but I am getting in the car to go somewhere, but we can still chat.
no, you're absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine. I'll just edit that out later, and they won't even know what happened.
Awesome, sounds good.
um, but I mean, if you don't want to, I don't want to keep you for too much longer.
No,
If
I'm
you've
good.
got
I'm
somewhere you got to
enjoying the
go.
conversation for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah. Um, so yeah, you were talking. By the way, that piece was amazing, and it was an amazing tribute. And
Thank you.
I hope and I'm glad you did it on here, and I hope that you share that more, because that's one of those pieces that definitely needs to be shown and get out there.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just
that
sad,
was
my heart really breaks for the people from the past, the present, and the future that have had their lives altered or taken or because of greed. And want to hold space for all of them just because it's a horrible thing that people do to each other. I don't know. I don't get it.
yeah,
But then you were sitting there like, there's people who can think whatever they want, and I appreciate their perception of it. But like, Oprah hired in the like a whole fire thing, uh, like 2 months, 3 months before the fire even happened, for that week at her house. There's like records of it. Like, well, I mean, then
huh,
this is all things that I've just read about and I've researched and I've
that
looked
is
at. So I'm not going to
so.
say 100%,
So I,
but
so I have a question.
yeah,
So if we operate under the assumption that the end is coming, and that these people know that the elites know that the end is coming,
where are they going?
we of course have to operate under the assumption that money is meaningless, and so the only reason these so my question is, do you think that these people are acquiring so much wealth to get themselves the fuck off this planet, or I mean, go underground, or what do you think that their eventual end goal is with all this money, if the end is coming?
What is going on?
I don't know. Is
They don't
some
want us to.
They're trying to block us. They're trying to keep us from getting the
Crazy. I'm
message
gonna call you
out.
back.
All right. I guess she'll be back. We'll pause and come back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the government though. This is them fucking with us. You got to know it is. You got to know it is. They're silencing us. They're straight up silencing us. They don't want us to speak the
Yeah,
truth.
no, it's bullshit. So, and like I said, all this stuff is my opinion, and it's just stuff that I've researched and like, I felt into, and I vibe with. Like I follow. I'm really trying to follow my instincts over my mind lately.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
these people, had horrible things done to them. It was all a precursor. And are they trying to get land? Absolutely. If you think about it, the Giza Strip, and Hawaii, two of the most religious, spiritual places in the world, and what's happening to them right now.
And I mean, do you know how many
I mean, that says
people,
it all.
do you know how many celebrities have built bunkers in the last 3 months?
Oh yeah. So listen,
That
it's
I
like,
know of, 19.
yeah,
19 celebrities or politicians have built bunkers or started production on bunkers in the past 3 months.
yes, yep. So that again, the lunar eclipse or the solar eclipse that's happening here on April 8th. So I had visions about this. Like I said, I'm going into this whole like psychic. I'm not going into it. It was like 2019. I started going into like real deep into it, psychic awakening, and I have been exploring more of that lately. And I'm definitely tapped in a little more than I've ever been, and in getting so much information that it's like it just makes so much sense. If it makes sense, look at how our like previous beliefs were,
Mhm.
and I'm not asking you to change. Just think about it. Just consider it, don't shut it out. Because if you look back at those beliefs and like, I don't know, we were just all asked. It's
I like what you said. I like what you said about following your instincts instead of your mind because our minds, whether we want them to or not, they're getting brainwashed. As much as we try to fight against it, you were telling me that you limit the TV that gets watched in your house.
yeah,
Um
kind
eh,
of. I mean,
I
there's a
mean,
lot of YouTube watching, so, but it's
right,
not.
right, but like that's the other thing is, or I personally I don't watch any major news channels.
Mm,
I honestly I don't really get my news from anywhere. I get my news from listening to podcasts and listening to real people
talk.
react to it and talk about it.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? That's where I get my news
If it's big
is
enough, it comes to me. You know what
because
I mean?
podcasts are independent. They're not owned by most of them at least are not owned by a like corporation. They're independent, so people could say whatever the fuck they want on there. And
Speak.
right. So that's where I try to get my news. But again, I try to limit my news watching to limit my brainwashing. But I know that we're being brainwashed just driving down the street and seeing signs. You know what I
Right.
mean? We're being brainwashed in all sorts of different little tiny ways that we don't even realize. I mean, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, there might be shit in the air. There's definitely shit in the food.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't prove the chemtrails and the shit in the air,
Oh
but
yeah.
we can prove the fucking shit in the food. That's like already a fact, and people just ignore it. People like I have a friend that used to call McDonald's nuggets 3D printed nuggets, and I was like, yeah, that's actually probably pretty accurate, bro.
Yeah.
That's you're dead on with that description there
Genetically
because
modified.
it's all fake. It's all yeah.
It's all, yeah, it's not, none of it's real anymore. That's crazy to me. I don't know. I'm definitely, it makes me just want to go deeper into the woods. That's all it does.
It, and I
For,
was I was thinking the other day about like shows like Survivor or shows like where they bring all these people from, middle to upper class out into the woods and you see their personalities just shift.
Mhm.
Um and you see them become different people. You know what I mean? And it's their diet, it's their environment, it's how they interact with each other, it's everything.
Oh,
And that's why I was like what you were saying about, listen to your instincts instead of your mind, because it's kind of like our instincts are part of nature. You know what I mean? Our everyday thoughts have been influenced by the government and the advertisements and everything around us, but our instincts are our primal side. That's what's
they're all senses, and we have like
right.
unlimited senses. Our hair is sense, you know what I mean? Our hair actually, but it, you know why it doesn't anymore? Because we wash it with the water that's has fluoride in it. So they don't act as sensors anymore. They don't relay as
Yeah.
much information. That's slower information coming back to you. Like you guys, there's so much going on. And we were sitting there saying, like, follow your instincts. Think about, so this is like going to kind of be a little deep just because it's deep for me. And I don't know how, like, some people might go right over your head, but if it does, then it does. Um, when you're channeling, oh, how do I explain it? Communication, like channeling with your spirit guides, with your guardian angels, with other frequencies that are higher than you. They don't have language. They don't understand language. They
Oh
don't
my
do
god.
this. All they do is give, they know feeling, they know vibration, they know frequency, which is your emotion, which is your, you know, your vibe, your fingerprints, like, you know, all those things. So it's like you have to stop talking and start feeling.
Mhm.
Stop listening and feel. And your life is gonna.
Absolutely. There's like three things that just popped into my brain when you said that. First thing is, a lot of my grandparents and my mom used to tell me, "You have one mouth and two ears. Listen twice as much as you talk." Um, the other thing I wanted to say is that I was literally just talking about this the other day on another podcast. Literally, I was the one who mentioned it. Was that I believe that we're not the only ones in the galaxy, obviously, or we're not the only ones in the cosmos, obviously, but we're also one of the most primitive. Like to them, and I would literally said to them, using sound waves to speak probably seems so fucking stupid and primitive.
But it
And
doesn't because they don't
it
understand the
to
separation.
them using sound waves to speak is like us walking instead of taking cars.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Ab-
why would you do that when you have such a better, more efficient way? Like, literally just, and I mean, Elon Musk was talking about, and this scares me, talking about like the Neuralink putting cybernetic chips in people's heads,
yeah.
which on one hand, that scares the fuck out of me. Um, it's, but on the other hand, there is medical potential for it. There is a medical potential for it. And
Yeah,
it's just
there
like,
is, but man, where is the boundary with that too? Like, and I hate
right.
to say that, like we are on a planet
Yeah.
in this reality. It is a planet. It is here. We are on it, and it is going to be full someday. And I really
So,
don't. I wouldn't want to be on an Earth that happens. I would rather
yeah.
everything end before then. You know, because people are vicious. We see that firsthand every day.
Absolutely. And to go back to what you were saying about like we need to
Yeah.
start feeling each other's frequencies and vibrations, and um a lot of people might not know this about me. They do now because I've probably mentioned it a couple times by now in various episodes, but it's may come as a shock to you that one of my favorite artists is Beethoven. And
Mhm.
one of my favorite artists is Beethoven, not only because his music is amazing, but that man, he was deaf, which means that man literally operated off of vibrations and frequencies. That man literally felt the vibrations of the universe, and not only the vibrations of the universe, but the vibe was he was operated on the same frequency. What it's like, my favorite is the Ninth Symphony. It's like a fucking 6 to 8 minute song. For 6 to 8 minutes, he was on the same vibration and frequency as his whole orchestra.
Right.
Everybody playing every single instrument in that orchestra was operating on the same frequency as he was, in completely in tune. Like, and it was just he was a different breed, and just I think that potential, like he unlocked like a human. I feel like we could all do that.
Everybody
We
can do
could
that.
all be
Well,
we could all be like Beethoven. Like that's like the next level of human consciousness,
It
you
is. It's
know?
fifth dimension. Well, it's not fifth. Well, it's fifth is like borderline. So the fourth is physical body. Once you get into fifth, you've lost the physical body, but you're still not. It's like the sixth and the 11th, like sixth to 11th dimension to is all like the higher frequency that doesn't have a like a physical body.
Right.
So when you're up there, you know what I mean? Like like you said with the vibration and the frequency with cymatics. So cymatics is just the pulse, right? And this of or the reaction on of water, the vibration, the pattern that it makes. But it's like your fingerprints, for instance. So my frequency, this is my cymatics, the pattern of my cymatics. Kind of cool, little nice to know news. When you're
I like
Yeah, when you're channeling or like, and everybody can do it. So you just have to raise your frequency to a high enough spot where you can start tapping in from that fourth to fifth dimension. So like that's where I'm at. I'm teetering. I'm in like the fourth dimension, but I can like reach in a little bit to that fifth dimension. But because I'm still physical, I can't ever get fully in there until I'm non-physical. And then
right, because we are tethered to our, you know, mortal bodies.
right,
We are more than that, that is literally, it's one of the laws of physics. Energy doesn't dissipate; it just changes
no,
form.
right,
I mean, and that's why, and that's why, like, for the main reason I believe in ghosts is because of the laws of physics. Because of the laws of physics, the laws of physics actually support. If you think about it, and there's a lot of what people would call supernatural or paranormal things that I believe in. Um, but if you really think about it, the laws of physics don't disprove these things. They actually work in their
right.
favor. They support them if you think about it close enough.
Well,
And I actually asked, and now I'm not religious, I'm just spiritual, but I was at a church one time because a lot of my family is spiritual, and I asked the pastor, I was like, how do you reconcile the Big Bang with your um, you know, with your story of creation? How do you reconcile science's explanation with your um, you know, story of creation? And he said, if you actually go in and you know and you actually know the science and you actually know the Bible, um, they actually support each other. And I was like, and I had to think about it, and I was just like, and then there was just so many things that were like, huh, you know what? There's something to that. There's
right.
something to that because, that's where it comes down to me feeling like every religion is kind of the same on some level.
Absolutely.
Um, you
Same God,
know,
different locations, but just different names.
right? It's the same force. It's the same
Yeah, guys, we
big
all have this
force of
big old
energy
source that was our creation.
that right. It's, you know, we are all part of creation. You
Going
know
back,
what I mean?
so
And I was saying this earlier too, is the idea of thinking of God as that the main reason I'm not religious, two reasons. One, I could never get along with anybody long enough. Could never keep my mouth shut if I was religious. And two, the idea of thinking of God to me as a single entity seems silly. Like a guy with a beard and a chair. Like it seems a little silly to me. I think that whatever force create, like this creation, it doesn't need fingers, toes, it doesn't need hands, it doesn't need a body, it doesn't need a beard, certainly doesn't need a beard. You know, it doesn't it's just, it could be mist, it could be whatever. You know what I mean? It the when you stare out into space and you see the blackness in between all the stars, that's dark matter.
right.
And scientists have yet to find out exactly. They have a theory, like they theorize on it, but they don't actually know what the fuck dark matter actually is. If you go on Wikipedia, it straight up tells you scientists have no idea what dark matter actually is, but their theory is that it is the essence, basically the essence of creation. It is the energy that that keeps expanding.
Universal.
um Dark matter is the energy. Dark matter turns into what we would call light matter, which is physical objects.
Right.
And dark matter is what allows the universe to expand infinitely.
Hmm.
And when you think about it that way, like it supports like the dark matter is a scientific theory, but it supports almost every religion out there and their theory of creation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just interesting because, and that's the other thing why I believe in paranormal things is because it's like you're gonna tell me that every um continent on Earth had a story about a dragon without any of them talking to each other, or all of them had a version of a vampire, or all of them had a different version of a ghost thousands of years before we could communicate with each other. Obviously, there was something to these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And
You know what
actually,
I mean?
dragon. This is the year of the dragon, and I am dragon in the Chinese astrology, and it actually my when the day that I'm born, it only happens. It's like very rare. Something happens. I don't follow it that much, but it has to be do with being the dragon, and like this is the close of my karmic cycle. Which I'm going to completely forget what we were talking about again now because I went off on but yes, and dragons are huge right now. Everybody is talking about dragons. I didn't hear anything about it. And then this group that workshop that I'm doing, all these people are channeling dragon. They're like their dragon energy. And I'm telling you, dragon energy, I was in a dragon ceremony when I was out in Reno. And in that ceremony, my energy, I've never felt a more physical presence in my body. You know what I mean? Like the energy felt physical. I could feel tingling. I could feel like, like my chakras were like just going, AWOL. It was nuts. It was definitely a different energy. But
Yeah.
and it was the most like exciting energy that I had. So
My someone mentioned something the other day, and I can't remember whether it was one of my friends or one of my podcasts or whatever it was, but they were like, why do we think that dinosaurs made sounds? Because in the movies you see that they just make whatever sounds kind of seem cool without any study of, larynx or voice box or
mhm.
any of that, right? So, but they were like, why do we think dinosaurs made sound? Do you know any lizards that make sound? I mean, you know what I
Some
mean?
of them make like that little caw. I think the one like makes like a screech, but yeah, no, not
Right.
many.
Most lizards don't make sound.
You want
And I think that dragons were, in my opinion, a evolved higher species of dinosaur or dinosaurs were evolved from them, like ancestors of more primitive, because I think that dragons were like as smart as us, if not smarter. And like I like the portrayals in movies where they make the dragon like a wise like Dragonheart. I grew up on the Dragonheart
I
movies.
love
And that I have that's what I've always like imagined is, and here's the thing is like this earth, this entire planet, it belonged to reptiles at one point. We have to remember that. It belonged to reptiles. And then whatever force, whether you call it God or Allah or whatever the hell it is, said, no, we need a reset. Something isn't working. Whether it was,
it.
and I'm sure that, and my, or at least my opinion is that it had something to do with war or famine or disease or one of the things that we still deal with to this day. And I think that it's a like the asteroid was a reset, trying to get it right again, trying
Yep.
to fucking make a species that would not tear themselves apart.
And that's following your instinct, and you are right, sir.
And where doing, I feel like, and everybody says history repeats itself, and I think that the dinosaurs were either tearing, I mean, I don't, obviously I'm not going to be like, there were homeless dinosaurs, and they didn't get their money coming home from the military, like that's the problems we're dealing with. But on a like deeper level, the essence of that problem has always been part of society, always been part of nature. War and famine and starvation and or
Enslavement,
starvation and famine are the same thing. I'm sorry. um, but
enslavement.
yeah. So, and I think that it's a where do for a cosmic reset.
Yeah, it's absolutely a cosmic reset. And like I said, the three times it happened was when, what was it? Jesus was resurrected, and the next was when Noah flooded. That's when it was. There was the skies went black in the Bible. So it's the same thing with this, and it's exactly what you just said. It's a reset. It's a reset. Which way do you choose to go? Be in the path of the totality, if you want to ascend, kind of thing. So it's big. It's April 8th. It's coming, and I remember on, I think it was August 17th in 2017 was the last one. And it's exactly 7 years apart. They cross over and make an X right over the United States. And the United States, it's funny that the totality area is like 4 minutes or 6 minutes or something like that. I can't remember. But it's like double the amount of time that the last one was, and the amount of energy shifting and people ascending from, second to third, third to fourth. It was crazy then. And so you're going to have a whole nother double the time, you know, shock of this energy whenever
Yeah.
these two paths cross. And it's right over Little Egypt, Illinois, which in
Oh,
a
really?
prophecy that God will return over Little Egypt is a prophecy that has every other prophecy that person has done has come to fruition. So it's like, it's definitely that time. If you look on any talk show, anything, that is what everybody's talking about. And we're kind of already living it, but nobody realizes it because we're so caught up, which was their plan all along. So
So there was, and I was trying to find it on my phone. I I don't want to take too much time trying to Google during the podcast, but there was this mass extinction event that happened, and it's the closest humans have ever been to extinction,
yeah,
and it was a super volcano, and it
clouded everything.
brought us down to 1,000 people. 1,000. I mean, that's not even a concert.
Where did
That's
you
not
learn?
even that's some high schools. That's some high schools. 1,000 people.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, that is absolutely insanity. But uh, I feel like the human race, and now whatever force, whatever energy's out there, it's gonna do what it wants, and if it wants us wiped out, we're gonna get wiped out. But I feel like the human race is probably I feel like we're resilient. Just something that's what my instincts tell me, is that we might be primitive and we might be toxic, but I think whatever force has kept us around this long, sees something in us, sees some kind of something that they don't see in other races throughout the cosmos, or that's rare. We have this resilience we have this like rah fuck you, like we have this resilience as human beings, and to just get back, like it's like the Rocky, like it's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep swinging. We have this like mentality as human beings, we just always get back up swinging one
Right.
way or another, one
So
way or another, we
right.
always just keep going.
Yeah, you're totally
um
right. But it's not because we're just badasses. It's they are helping us, or whatever source is helping us get through all this is because we are all one, and we are all connected. And for them to ascend, the next people down have to ascend. It's like a step
right.
process. Like the people above us are, it's their job, and then they get their, like, stickers on the board if they help other, people or other societies or creatures, whatever, ascend. So that's where we're getting the help that we're getting.
So are we now, not, I mean, not just like, not in a religious sense, I guess in a spiritual sense or whatever, but are are we more worthy of that ascension than dinosaurs in that line of reasoning? Or like, because my question is, you know, why, if we are so toxic and we are so just evil, why have we been allowed to continue this way?
Well,
And and that's why I was just
Reptiles,
think. Go ahead. Sorry.
that's okay. Reptiles, and I mean, let's go back to the earliest of books of the Bible, which no one gets access to because they took them away. There's two books of Adam and Eve, which were the first two books. And in those, it explains that obviously the serpent, which was who fooled the darkness that fooled Eve. Um,
I've heard.
I mean, serpents, they talked, they stood up and walked. They were actually beings. And whenever that serpent manipulated Eve, and then did it again. Like he gave it one chance to be like its normal self, and then I guess again he did it, and he took away. He took his ability to their ability to walk away or stand upright and speak. So
Hmm.
there's that whole
I don't think I've actually heard that. That I'm gonna have to. That sounds like a.
the
I'm gonna
first
have to go.
Adam and Eve. You can look it up on like Audible. There's actually a
Huh.
really good book on there that has all anything that we have access to, which is still like there's like 30 books
I
missing.
mean, I've heard like obviously the basic like Adam and Eve story that's like pumped into the media.
Oh no, it's all about no,
But like
it explains
yeah,
exactly where
I've gone a little bit into detail and but I haven't I haven't researched the that too much honestly. I'm gonna have to go in and read some of that and listen. I have Audible, so I download stuff all the time. It's so easy for me to just zone out and kind of that's kind of like
free credits,
one of
man.
my
They give you
one of
back
my
credits.
yeah, I know. And it's that's one of my um coping mechanisms where I find like my happy place is not just writing or whatever, but like when I just like listening to a book or listening to a podcast or reading a book or whatever, like it's it's not just about escapism, you know? It's about escapism, but I also relate I can't help but relate everything to my own life and what's going on in the world or whatever. So I feel like learning I feel like I'm learning more than I'm escaping, you know, because all these all the movies, all the shows, all the whatever, they're all written by people and so I feel like I'm kind of studying people in a way and I'm kind of studying how we think and like like the the trends that are going on in popular TV shows. Like I'll go back and I'll watch like some of the shows that I watched when I was a kid on Disney Channel, and they'll all kind of have like a same vibe to me, and like some of the jokes like they don't age very well, and it's because we've shifted. You know what I mean? And it's and it's like the paradigm and the like think of like thinking that it shifted like everything. Like if you watch Disney Channel shows or Nickelodeon shows now, like they feel nothing like they used to. Absolutely nothing like they used to. The new ones at least. Or and that's the same with like a lot of shows is they just um
There's
the minds the mindset of society has changed, so therefore the writing of society has changed,
oh yeah,
you
we're
know?
looking at it from a completely different angle than when we were kids. Life's completely different. I feel horrible for our kids, to be honest. I mean, not that I wouldn't want to bring them into this world like other people say, but it's just they're just so limited. And what it is like they're trying to push us to a civilization that has no emotion, because then we're
Hmm.
destroyed, because you can't live without emotion, you can't live without spirituality, and that goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? So what they're doing is trying to, they over time that they took family away, they took, being able to spend time with family away, they took family TV shows away and put in individual things that they knew that the older people were going to hate, so they wanted to be as far away from those kids as possible. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
all planned, it's all freaking planned. It's little things like that. Even it's silly. It really is.
Yeah, it is all like that's what scares me is like it's all part of this big scheme. Like they're all everything's connected and whether it's the politicians they have in office or the shows that are on the TV or whatever, it's all very carefully
Programmed.
crafted to now there's this show that I watch and it's called The Boys,
Mhm.
and it is about so superheroes are real, but they are created their government assets. They're created by this government funded company. And they are basically celebrities, and they're used to um, control the minds of the people and influence them. And there's just that show is that show should win just everything, every award, because it's a badass show with a lot of action and a lot of this and that, which is awesome and cool, and it has superheroes, which people love. But then it ends up being such making like a statement about our society and what's actually going on in the world, and it is the most brutal. And I warn you, if you ever decide to watch it, it is brutal. There is
Graphic.
a yeah, very graphic, very graphic. But it makes you really feel how fucked up this world, like this world that he created, is, or whatever, and how he's all these things are references to our real world and the things that are going on in our real world.
Yeah.
And but the basic concept is, what if absolute power corrupted absolutely? So they have these superheroes like the Justice League. They're all parodies. Like, there's a guy who can fly and shoot lasers, but they're all fucked up parodies of superheroes. Which in the 1970s and 1980s, I took a comic class, and in the 1970s and 1980s, that's what comics were used for. They were used for propaganda, for war propaganda. I mean, the biggest examples of that are Captain America, obviously fighting Nazis, and then you have Wonder Woman over here with her magic lasso, just so much innuendo that it's just frankly, like, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love Wonder Woman. I wouldn't change her costume even if I could, but like, it is very sexist. If the original Wonder Woman comic is extremely sexist,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and it was made to be, and they were war propagandas. And so basically the theory of this show is that they learned how to create real superheroes and use them the same way they did the comic books in the 80s,
Right.
but in real life, putting them on the news for, giving speeches, make but also putting them on kids lunch boxes, you know what I mean, like. And it is such a good that show is such a good commentary on today's society. It really is.
What was it called?
um the
What?
boys, and it's on it. Unfortunately, it's only on Amazon, so you have to pay for it.
That's
But
what
uh,
you do.
yeah, if you have Amazon Prime, then that it's on there, and it is fantastic. It's one of the best commentaries on our society. I can't give enough praise to it, but be warned, it is graphic.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't
and this.
I know that stuff anymore, man. The graphic stuff. I'm
Mm.
sensitive. I don't know. It affects me my whole day if I see stuff like that. So
Yeah, so without spoiling any of it for anybody who wants to watch it out there, but the first scene starts with the first scene of the first episode starts with this girl and her boyfriend, and he's standing a little on the sidewalk, and they're holding hands like this, and she's standing off of the sidewalk, and somebody with super speed comes and just runs through her. Cloud of pink mist all over him. He's just standing there holding her detached hands.
oh gosh. Yeah, that's awful.
And that's how this show starts off. And then the media covers it up. The media tries to say that they were standing in the middle of the street, and that like they weren't like right on the side. Like the media tries to say that they were standing in the middle of the street so that this, super hero or whatever, like that he can save face or whatever, because he's a big part of their company. And yeah, that's how the show starts. That sets the tone for the entire show, and then it gets more fucked up from there. But yeah, that's the tone for the entire show. And it's the tone is the government doing fucked up shit and then covering it up. And so the boys are these group of humans who decide enough is enough. We're gonna hunt these fuckers down. We're gonna kill every soup, until we get to the top and take this entire corrupt organization down. And that's what the boys are. And yeah.
Well,
Um,
let's take a page out of their notebook.
Hell yeah, the Lost Boys.
That's
Let's take their fucking elite bullshit down. Like that's uh, as much as this show is about love and compassion and joining together as people, it is also about rising up as people against the evil in the world.
I
Um,
agree. And being
I think
comfortable.
I think everybody who comes on this show would at least agree with that sentiment a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives us an avenue to talk. And it's like, there's so many different things you can watch right now. And there's all these reels and there's all these, YouTube videos, and you don't know what to believe, what to, you know, my advice on that is just whatever you find that triggers you or that, you know, um makes you excited or makes you curious. If it does that, research it. Find out the truth about it. Don't, you don't always, you should never listen to one side.
Right.
People, the race that we need to be, or the people that we need to be are people who are willing to realize that there's another way, or there
Yeah.
could be another way. You know what I mean? And once we learn that, a lot of the ego, a lot of that stuff falls off, because you're not comparing anymore. You're not, well, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah. It's their method of dividing and conquering.
it is.
It's to get us to compare you know they 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 wrap us in chains and then make us compare their length.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever heard that saying, but it's one of my favorite.
Good.
And it is they make us fight with each other so that we're not fighting against them. And they give us the things to fight about. They cause the problems, they cause the issues, so that we're one, fighting with each other, and two, looking to them for help.
And then they could try
Um,
to save us, right?
there's
But never
there's,
really.
there's you listen to Tom McDonald, right?
Yeah, I have.
He has this great line in one of his earlier songs. He says, the song is about pills and the government, and how they're pumping them into just mainstream society and all the rappers and whatnot. And he has this great line where he says, um, they created the problem to give you pills that'll solve them. It's
Yep.
brilliant.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
and it's so true. Like, they create our anxiety with their fear mongering. It is all an elaborate plan to get us to be distracted from the truth of what's
Yep.
going on, to be distracted from their main goals, and to fight with each other.
Right. If you've never listened to like the Elite's agenda that they signed in 1860 something, or researched the Rockefellers and what they did, or
Oh,
Carnegie, and that's
yeah.
local to Carnegie's Pittsburgh. Research it. Look what these people
Yeah.
did. I mean, they bought out the entire world, or the entire United States medical systems, hospitals, and colleges, so that they could teach their own curriculum, their own, way of things, wanting things to be. They repopulated the freaking United States pretty much with babies on a train. Look at that story.
So
Crazy things that happen that you don't know about and that's not taught.
there
That's
are,
why
right, and that in that line of thought, actually, there so I went to and it was still part of the regular school district, but I went to for some of my classes, at least, I went to an alternative school,
mm-hmm.
which was just a smaller class right down the road. And the history teacher there, now I know for a fact she taught us more than she was supposed to, and
Mm-hmm.
she taught us more than was in the his actual history book, because she had a history book and we would read from that sometimes, but then I'd come to class and she'd have these packets printed out from Google, and you know what I mean. And she and her a big thing that we went over was the Rockefeller, and when we were like, it's her job when she's teaching us about economics to teach us about monopolies, and
Hmm.
I mean, the monopoly man is literally drawn, I believe, after Rockefeller, right, with the
Hmm.
hat and the monocle or
Yep.
whatever. I think he's drawn to look like Rockefeller. So
I mean,
yeah,
that's
she
all
taught
in
us
there.
about.
We will make these people confused. We will take them away from their families. We will make them spend 8 hours or most of their days in a place learning obsolete things. Like it's like all in there. Signed, dated, 18 something. Crazy.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane what these billionaires are doing nowadays, and like it's scary. Like not just hearing about them building bunkers, but just like I said, I listen to a lot of podcasts with Elon Musk, and I obviously don't agree with everything Elon Musk is doing, but um and Elon Musk apparently doesn't agree with everything he's doing, but his theory is um if you can't beat it, join it. That's his theory. That's which is a flawed concept, but that's his theory with like AI at least. I mean, the progression
Gotta,
of AI, and if they end up taking over the world, um he thinks that our only two options are either to die out and AI takes over the world, or we merge and become symbiotic with it, which we kind of already are. If you don't have this on you, you feel like you are missing an arm.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my back pocket vibrates when I don't even have my phone. You know how what is that like the ghost vibrate?
Yeah, it's like a phantom. Yeah,
I know it's true.
yeah, you have phantom limb syndrome
Yeah.
because it is a part of you, and what he was saying was we are already cyborgs. The only difference is the cybernetics have not merged with our biology, and so therefore the data transfer is much slower. And it scares me. On one hand, like I was saying earlier, it scares me to think of the advance of technology, and how we could go one day go Terminator, and that would be really scary. But on the other hand, he's talking about like giving paraplegics their legs back and giving sight back to the blind. Like you can't ignore that either. You know what
Mm,
I mean?
you really can.
So
It
it's
does
a
go.
toss.
If you go back to like primordial stuff, it goes back to survival of the fittest. Where's the limit?
Yeah, yeah. But I think that
Let's talk about.
people as a whole will eventually. Now, I will never agree to have a chip implanted. Let's be very clear. I will never agree to have any kind of chip implanted in any kind of my body whatsoever. Um, if the closest I'll come is like if I crack my skull open and they need to put a plate, fine. But besides that, like I will never have anything implanted in my body.
Right.
Um, and but I think that we will eventually, as a society, give over. And this is, I'm not saying decades, maybe centuries, maybe in decades, but we'll eventually give over to the eventual rise of technology, and because people will want the health benefits and the convenience, and will eventually forget about the Terminator shit because the convenience and the health benefits mean more to them.
Right. I get it. My thing with that is if we're gonna do that and we're gonna follow the technology, we need to make sure that we stay just as spirit because we will not survive as just
Mm.
technology driven. It's happened. It's happened multiple times, and that's what aliens are. Extraterrestrials are just people who tried and tried and tried, and it didn't work, so they had to evolve.
Here, you know what's interesting to me, that every time we think of AI and it evolving, we always assume, man, this shit's gonna fucking kill us.
Mhm.
Why is that? Could it be because we know we're fucking toxic? Because here's the two sides of the coin. To the logical brain, a computer gets turned on, sees the entire race, downloads the entire internet to its brain, sees the entire race, and thinks, wow, these people are really fucking toxic. They're destructive, they're toxic, they're killing each other, and they're inefficient. I can run this shit way more efficiently. I need to get rid of this primitive species so that I can run things more efficiently. But here's the thing, and that's what I was talking about earlier, is why I think whatever primordial force has still kept us around. It's this show. It's exactly what this show is about. It's our art, it's our creation, it's our souls. It's
Yeah.
we have something
And
that the computers don't fucking have. They're making AI songs, and the AI songs, don't get me wrong, some of them actually sound pretty good. Like I can bop to that, but they're never going to have the heart and soul of a human musician. There's never going to be, like, they can't recreate that. But
and that's because
that's
that's
something a computer can't understand, though.
right.
That's something a computer can't understand. They can't they can understand love as a concept, but can't feel it.
They
They,
can't.
you know what I mean? They
Do you think they could feel jealousy?
see that's interesting because I think that it's ones and zeros, and they work on a system of logic. No matter how advanced they get, it's still ones and zeros, and they still work on a system of logic. Is
So,
jealousy logical? Is jealousy logical?
no. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, see, that's why I can't decide, is because on one hand there is certain times where jealousy is logical, but um acting out of jealousy I don't think is. I don't think acting out of jealousy is logical. So would they therefore not would they not feel jealous of the human species because they cannot feel jealousy? That's an interesting concept.
but if you're programmed to know what something
Right.
and do
Right.
that thing, so that's just kind of like me as a channel. There's different ways to channel. People see, people hear, people feel. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those senses, kind of. I don't
I think if the internet could talk,
know.
and that's essentially what we're talking about. And we're talking about a AI that is as powerful in strength as the internet is, and can literally, basically the internet is its brain cell. Is That's at least what I picture, is if we're eventually there's going to be an AI that downloads the sum total of human existence based on the cloud.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
the dark net's not going to be able to hide either. It's all out there. It's all out there.
Right.
Everything. And I think that, like, anything connected to a electronic chip is going to be in jeopardy.
Absolutely.
Um, but it's just interesting to think, like, every time we think of AI, we think of them destroying us because we know that we're toxic. And that's got to say something about, like, us as a society, and, like, us, our complacency. Like, if you know there's a problem, then fix it. You know what I mean? Like, if I know there's trash, take it the fuck out.
That's a hard, it's so hard to do, though, man. It is so hard to do. When you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you're getting poisoned every day, when there's like, come on, life, like,
Yeah.
there's people who, like, I have a high speed. I'm very spiritual. I'm very confident in my spirituality. I'm very confident in who I am. But man, I have rough days. You know what I mean? So it's just like, can you imagine people who just don't even know what's going on or have that backing? Like, they're just like this. It's either, I think, one of two things. They're either going to be like completely complacent and okay with it because they're just oblivious, or they're like, they're suffering. It's sad.
I have a quote that I want to read. It's a quote by me. I wrote it, so it's not really a quote. It's just something that I wrote. But I posted it on Facebook yesterday. It says, "To remain complacent is to remain stagnant. To remain stagnant is to settle. To settle is to limit your own potential. To limit your own potential is to surrender to mediocrity, which is ultimately to admit defeat. A body at motion stays in motion. A body at rest will remain at rest. No matter what, always keep moving.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because it's, to me, it feels like human society as a whole has, yeah, we're progressing in technology and, a lot of other things, but we've become stagnant in a way. Like we're not spiritually moving forward in any meaningful way at all.
I agree. I mean, I don't agree. I
Well,
see where you're coming from though. We are making leaps and bounds spiritually because
well, that's actually, I'll correct my statement there because as far as acceptance with the transgender and gay community and all of that, we have made enormous leaps and bounds, and that is very spiritual. That is a very spiritual thing that we've accomplished. So I guess that wasn't entirely true.
I know,
But go ahead, say what you were gonna say. Sorry.
just as someone who I went from very non-religious, non-spiritual to very spiritual, and with a quickness, like over the last decade has been this huge shift spiritually where it's you go from that, like I can mention energy centers or chakras, or I can mention your energy cycle or how it affects, and people kind of know it now. For
Yeah,
you,
back in the day, they just
I
called you
really
a crazy hippie.
no idea. So yeah, exactly. I was just a hippie or a witch. You know what I mean? And I'm like, no,
I
really,
still like the word hippie though.
I'm just sensitive. You know what I mean? I'm just born with a little more senses than anybody else. No. um. So it's I don't know.
I think that especially artists, we are a different breed. We're a tuning fork tuned at a different frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Um and we are able to output and input, much like a microphone. We are able to output, input, and input frequency, or I should say, a professional microphone, frequencies that others are not able to into the universe.
Absolutely.
Um, and
Yeah.
pick up on frequencies that others are not able to in the universe.
Well,
Um, and I feel like us as artists are both antenna and radio. We need to pick up, we need to both pick up the energy in the universe and pick up on the vibes of the people around us and what's going on or whatever. But we also need to transmit that those thoughts. So what a radio does, and that's why I kind of use the radio example, is because what a radio does is it picks up frequencies and it relays them through complex words and ideas, and you hear them as sound and words, and that's what we do, and that's what we do as artists. We pick up on the frequencies of the world, and then we um, put them out into the world as words, as condensed, complex concepts. Um, and I think, yeah, that's like just my main goal in life is to, and I keep saying, like, there's no superheroes, there's nobody coming to catch the missiles, so we have to be our own. Oh, you're muted.
we are the
You're good.
superheroes.
Yeah, exactly. We have to be our own superheroes. We are the ones, you know what I mean? The truth warriors, or I think somebody that I recorded with recently, he put his name as, I believe it was Soldier of the Word or something like that. And it like, we were talking about how he really feels like us as artists are soldiers in a war, and propaganda being shot down through death beams lining the streets. That's a line from a poem that I really like. Fuck, I can't remember the name of the poem, but the name of the poet is Guante. He's a spoken word poet. His real name is Kyle Meir. Um, Go check him out on YouTube. He's really awesome. You can find him on that like Button Poetry site, or on YouTube, that Button Poetry channel. Um, but he has this one line where he says, um, he says we are soldiers in a war, and I'm quoting this like not verbatim. It's soldiers in a war with propaganda being shot down through death beams lying in the streets, and the insides of our cages, or something to that effect. And it's just like, seriously, go listen to him, because he's gonna get the point across way better than I can. But um that poem, I mean, I think that came out in like 2014, 2015 or whatever, and it is like still so relevant to this day. Like, we as artists are soldiers in the propaganda war, in the war against brainwashing and societal fucking uh I don't want to say, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but just, we're all blind, they're blinding us all, and that's
Societal.
we're here to illuminate.
We are here to illuminate. Absolutely, we're here to illuminate, so the Illuminati can get out, and it's our job. World will be so much.
Yeah.
Um, there was so much you just touched on. We should definitely do this again, because I'm gonna have to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're all right. But before we get out of here, is there anything that, if you like could have the attention of the entire world for 5 minutes, and I know you just had their attention for an hour and a half, but if you could have their attention for 5 minutes, or say anything to anybody, hey, the floor is yours.
Yeah, be authentic, find yourself, figure out who you are without any kind of outside influence. It's hard. And I mean, it's almost impossible to do these days, but do the best you can doing it. And don't close your mind. If you think something, just know that it could be 1,000 other ways for sure. And treat people nice, be kind.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the golden rule in literally every religion. Like I was saying earlier, every religion's the same for a reason, because that's the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Your energy will come back to you threefold.
Threefold.
Um, and I love the rule of threefold. Yes, but yeah, it's the same. It's the same concept. Just be the best you can be, best you that you can be, and that will hopefully, and that's what I try to do with the show, is hopefully encourage others to be the best them they can be.
That's what we're here for. Like you said, we're these guiding lights. We are here to lead by example. We're here to show people that you can do what you want. You can follow your dreams. You might have to make
Absolutely.
sacrifices here and there, because things aren't meeting up, but you know what? That's what we have to do as humans, because we are in this form. But we are divine creatures. We are Yahweh. We are a part of the whole. All is
One
one.
more one more quote I want to leave you with from the same artist. I think it might be the same poem too. He said, "There is such a thing as awesome, and it's not, ooh, this new Drake song is awesome, or ooh, Honey Crisp apples are the most awesome apples ever." His grandfather used to say, "God is awesome, and he is not religious." There is such a thing as awesome. It skulks in the back alleys of culture. You might need a machete and a flak jacket to get there, but it's there. So don't bring me beans and tell me they're magic. Bring me magic.
Yes, I love it.
And I want to leave with that quote. So thank you so much. It has been a pleasure, and I can't wait to have you back again.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I'm sure I'm going to look through, watch this, and we probably started so many conversations and didn't finish it because we jumped around.
Oh,
Cool.
absolutely.
I was
As soon as I get it edited, I will send it to you, so that you can watch it, and then I will let you know when we're gonna post it for everybody else to see.
That would be cool
All
because I would
right?
put a couple links in with it or something like that so that people
Yeah,
can.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be in the next few weeks. So,
Thank you so
yeah,
so much for what you're doing. I think it's amazing.
thank you. Stay in touch.
I
Peace
will.
out.
See ya.